You know, I think that God makes everybody for a purpose and have them to live for a purpose. And often we don't realize that. We think that the children are just come up. And I think these people had about 10 children. And the father, he must have been interested in them. And I think of the Jackson Five, which was the 5 brothers. It shows you that he was interested enough, and I imagine, to keep them together, to have them to love and to understand each other, to be able to give and to take, and have understanding that one is different from the other. And I think he had to do a fantastic job because of all of those children that he had. I haven't heard of one of them having been arrested for drugs or having been in jail. Why, he needs a medal. The minute you say Michael Jackson, I begin to think of that little boy, about 10 years old, who with that little fine voice could sing like everything and capture the audience. But when he was a teenager, I noticed that a whole lot of the different types of songs that came in. His songs were not like that. Later on, as I heard messages in his music, away from the filth, the evil things that were said, the molestation of women, particularly black women, by these musicians. And all of his music was clean. All of his music, to me, carried a message. But more than that, he wanted to share with what he had. And he was the type of fella who was blind to color. And to think of the number of charities that he gave his money to. And then I was very much impressed with Never Never Land. How he took those young kids in who had nothing, but they had an idea that they wanted to be somebody, and they wanted to do something. And then think of the system being so evil that they used that to try to corrupt what he was doing. And surely we need to realize that there is a good and there is a bad. There is an evil and there is a truthful side. And many people don't look at anything but the evil part because it's easy, just like it's easier for a person to lie than it is to tell the truth. And the things that they said about that and about his life and how he liked little children, maybe more boys came to him than anything else, because they seem to be the ones who are more troubled than the young girls are. All of the system has pushed the young people so, with all of the evil things that are going along. They are pushed where if you're not strong, and everybody is not strong. And when I think of Never Never Land, I just imagine there were so many kids who would have gone astray, but who realized through the talking and the instruction, instead of saying what the rules are and what you should do, Michael Jackson lived it through precepts and examples. He taught them how to live. Unfortunately, there are so many people who take the wrong thing and make something out of nothing. Now, for instance, when they said that he took the baby and put him in the window, so what? He didn't have any attempt to throw the child away. He wanted somebody to see the baby. This is my child. This is a part of me. If you have a conversation you want to be just between you and the child or an adult, why is it you can't lie in bed and talk with them about it? Why is it you can't straighten that child out? The system has made it dirty, made being in bed dirty. But you be in bed for so many different purposes rather than sex. Why didn't they tell him some of these things that they are glorifying him with now, when he was living? Why didn't they try to see that you're doing a good job, and I've got a little group of young people I'd like to bring to you, and I want you to talk with them. I want you to tell them about your life, which was, to me, was beautiful. No, they didn't do that. They smeared him. They made him think that everything he was doing wrong. They destroyed Neverland. Never heard of his having said or done anything that caused a person to be rejected or to turn around and feel as though he's hopeless. Because I think that God is just tired of how we were destroying him mentally, or tried to destroy him mentally. And he said, come up a little higher, for you have done the good that I have commanded of you to do. So well done, thou good and faithful servant. You have been given the ability to give the best that you could. Then come up a little higher and rest, for I have greater things for you to do.